Today I'm sharpening the infamous Huusk knife and the Haako. Very similar in builds, however the Haako is thicker than the Huusk. Let's start off with the Huusk. Now, is that Huusk thick enough to warrant the horrible new knife clamp from Tormek, which does split centrally and therefore holds a thick knife more evenly in the middle as you flip it over? Or can I get away with the old trusty? I reckon I've done a lot of the Huusk knives on the old trusty, so I'm going to use the old trusty for the Huusk and the horrible new one for the Haako. Let's get started. First of all, place that in there. Now, because it's so curved, we're going to get a variation in bevel angle. In order to minimize that, if I was to set the angle there, then by the time it gets up to here, it's going to be a different angle. If I set it to there, then by the time it comes up here, it's going to be a different angle. So I'm going to kind of equalize it and kind of draw a line across between the tip and the heel, so that I'm aiming for the preferred angle in the belly, which is where it's mostly used, and then a little bit narrower up on the top, a little bit narrower on the tip, and that gives the tip a bit more hardiness, and the heel doesn't really matter that much. It'll still be very sharp. So we do it about there. Come over to the Tormek. Now, what angle am I going to give these? Probably, well, I'll use the new one. Now, what diameter am I down to? 220. So that's already set to 220. And let's set it to 30. Needs to sit up. More. Bit more. Smidge more. That'll be enough. Okay. Now, I'm not going to use this mount for the whole job. I'll put you on the tripod, so stand by. Okay. So you can see what I was talking about before, where we've got the angle here. By the time it gets up here, we've increased the angle by that much, but it doesn't make that much difference, and I feel that instead of trying to rotate and keep the angles all the same, it's just awkward. You can never get at the same angle twice because this is all arbitrary. So I just find that it works just fine if we just focus on the belly. I'll start off rough. Beautiful. And I'll show you in a minute. It's not really that bad, although there is definitely a difference. That's just the limitation of this Tormex system. However, I find that when the angle is a higher angle, it toughens the tip, which if it was at the 30 degrees, might be a little bit fragile up here. So it kind of has a benefit in the end. But if you want to have a look at how that comes up, see, that's not too bad, is it? Still okay. There's the preferred through there. And this side, even though it's higher, is kind of fatter, but that's because it's fatter at the back than it is at the tip. So it kind of makes up for it, gives you a bigger bevel, which gives the illusion of having the same angle, but it's not really. Now, why am I doing so many passes on one side? Because it's the initial rough grind, and there's a long way to go. I've got a burr, not quite in the middle. Yep. Over onto the 320. That's nice. These are not very hard steels, so they don't need much. I think we'll give this one a little bit more on this side. Nice. beautiful. And I'll just improve it just a little bit because I can still feel some grain on there. So we'll take it all the way down to 1000. Using the original Tormek smoothing stone, whatever it's called. That feels really smooth now. And these are owned by a chef, and he says he likes using them. So, you know, he says he doesn't put his whole finger in there, but he kind of puts a little bit of the finger in there. Try and smooth that out a bit more. We're going slower. How does that look? Mag bloody nificent. Perfect. Quick hone, and that is done. So where's the burr? The burr is on the back, so we want the burr to the top because we don't want to hit the burr straight away. Oh, don't be shy with the green. We want to polish the back of the burr so that when it comes to attacking the burr, which is on the top now, it'll fall off easier. And I'm honing on the bevel with a slight bias to the apex. And not too much. We don't want to round it over. So we're on the burr side now. And after this pass it should be alright, although I might do a quick little apex pass, which is lift it up higher, lightly, very lightly now. And that should be fine. Let's head over to the bench and test it for sharpness against the telephone book paper. The yellow pages, which are becoming more and more rare. Where do you find a yellow pages these days? Well, I find them. Let me just check. Yep, smooth. Let's see how we went. Wow, that feels really good. So that's the husk. sharpened on the Tormek. Beautiful job. Now, while you're watching, let's do the Haako. And this time, we're going to use the new jig, which is horrible because it's got the weird thumb grip, but here's what it is. Now this one is more even and more straight, so we can keep it very central. No need to worry about the arc. So let's take it over to the machine and give this one a touch as well. You can see that it's got a bit of a chip there. Let's have a look. See that little chip there? That'll all come out because I expect these are just as soft as the other one. Very live action here. But it won't take long. Now, let's lift that up. We'll aim for the same 30 degrees as we always do, well, normally do. And that is a little bit high. Like that party I went to in the 80s. And we'll rough it up first with the 80 grit. Yep. The grain is raised. I don't like these. I'm normally used to having my thumb at the back, but it slips off, so I have to have it at the top, and I get by, but still don't like it. Why did they have to change it? They didn't have to change it. Not the thumb grip anyway. Nice. Yep, I've already got a burr. Make sure that chip is gone. It has, but I don't like my heels. I'll show you what I mean. So yeah, it's got a multi-facet. See if I can get a shine. There you go. See the back there? That's unfinished. That's the front. That's the back. I've got to finish that better. Those tips are a bit thin as well, so just even that up a bit. Better. Perfect. Check for evenness. This side's a bit bigger than this one, so I'll give this another pass. And on the finer grits, you always got a chance to readjust all those pebbles again. because the Tormek system is great, but it's not perfect. It does require some user input, and therefore it can vary in results. The speed, the pressure, it all makes a difference. So there is a little bit of operator skill there required. That looks pretty even to me. What do you think? Nice. But that's a bit toothy. So let's get it down to 320 grit. Oop. That's the owner who's just rocked up of these knives. So we'll be back in a minute after I let him in. Actually wasn't the owner, that was more knives dropped off. So did we do the 320? I think we did, but let's just triple check. This takes it up to about 900, I think. That's why the stone does actually smooth it off a little bit more. Okay. Now smooth it out, because even though some of the harder Japanese knives do soften the wheel a bit, these softer ones don't. Now, a knife being soft steeled is not necessarily a bad thing. It means that it's easy to sharpen in the field, which means on the bench in the kitchen as you're going, you don't have to bring it back to a sharpener like you would have to for a Japanese knife. It's very hard steels, very hard, very high hardness ratings, and very difficult to sharpen on a stone quickly. Whereas these softer steels can be sharpened in the field pretty quickly. They can be honed easily as well, or straightened as I call it. And you can hear how quiet that is now after the stone. That one's done. Oh, this tip's a bit uneven. Sometimes you rush the tip because it's nerve-wracking starting at the tip. That's better. This one's got a bit of a facet. It's got to be smooth. Better. This one needs to match. Okay, that's done. Over to the hone. There's Chili. Hello, Chili. Every knife sharpener needs a dog, I feel. Green up. Burrs on the top, yes. And I catch the bevel first, which I can tell because it's gripping, and then I elevate it a bit to catch that apex. Do the bevel first. And then elevate it for the apex. Pressing very lightly when I'm on the apex run. When I first started, and for a long time I was over honing because I wasn't getting a good result, and I thought that it was all, I didn't know where I was going wrong, so I figured it was maybe in the honing, but it was all sorts of other things going on. And so now I know that the work is mostly on the steel, on the wheel, on the grinder. That's where your apexes are formed nicely, getting that burr. And then honing is a very light procedure. Haako. You can see that thin line of polish right on the apex. Let's over to the bench and see how sharp that is. Wow, that is spectacularly sharp. So sharp that I think it might even be able to slice the tally ho. Let's have a look. Yep. Oh, a little bit catchy there. Oh, there you go. Nice. Let's try the husk on the tally ho. Perfect. So that's the husk and the Haako. sharpened on the Tormek. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.